Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 1st of August, comes to you from Cowes in the Isle of Wight. I'm here for Cowes Week sailing. But looking at the markets, we're seeing here that we are below the cloud on all three time frames for the dollar, just pushing towards this downside target of 91.28. We're actually nearly at this target given back in May, so we really just have seen the deterioration since then. So dollar is looking more and more bearish. We're right on the support level on the point and figure chart, so it'll be interesting to see whether we go lower than that. The irony is that the long-term point and figure chart is still bullish, but the short and medium term picture is pretty bearish. Looking at the euro, it's looking extremely strong now, bullish above the cloud on all three time frames. A shortage of upside targets. We will get one off this thrust, but a shortage of upside targets on the euro, so it does make it harder to call. We see here on the short-term chart we do have quite a lot of upside targets, but in the medium to long term the picture is difficult because we're going through this transition from bearish to bullish. Looking at the Japanese yen, we see here dollar weakening here as well, downside potential of about 1.5%, and sterling is stronger, broken out of that 130.50 level, above 132 now, so looking considerably stronger, and we're seeing here an upside potential of about 3.6%. So that's looking pretty good, but sterling does still look weak against the euro, and we're seeing downside pretty much of anywhere between 1 and 2.5%. So, and this target here, most worryingly of all, a new downside target on the medium-term chart, where the sterling goes lower than the euro. So £1 will buy you less than a euro. So that's highly significant, of course, seeing these new targets coming on. So that upside potential for the dollar, unless the dollar really underperforms, we see sterling is still pretty vulnerable. Looking at the Swiss franc, we're seeing sterling appreciating in the last week or two here as well, upside potential of about 1.5%, but it's that euro chart that's key. Against the Australian dollar, sterling hasn't looked as strong. We are above the cloud at the moment on the short-term chart, but we are still bearish in the medium and long term. The US stock market, pausing really at the moment, was fairly flat again yesterday. And we're just seeing here that we are bullish above the cloud on all three time frames, but we are just pausing for breath. And the Nasdaq, more importantly, is just wandering through the cloud. So the Nasdaq's seen quite a bit of jitters just in the recent days and weeks, but when you look at the long-term weekly chart, it doesn't look that violent. So at the moment it's still bullish on all three time frames, but the short term is just starting to look a little bit worrying. The Dow is looking good, bullish on all three time frames, and the Russell 2000 just falling away a little bit here as well. We are seeing the S&P future up slightly, and the Nasdaq E-mini up at 1/3%. So it does suggest that the Nasdaq will open higher. FTSE had a very benign day yesterday. We are bearish still below the cloud on the short-term chart, so that's vulnerable. And the FTSE 250 holding its own. The DAX is just sinking low all the time on that stronger euro, and clearly bearish now medium term. So the DAX is one of the less good-looking stock markets at the moment. Then Nikkei looking but still pretty weak in the short term, but we do have upside targets here. So Japan should recover. Hang Seng looking very strong, bullish in all three time frames. China really starting to move as well, coming out of this cloud. So the Chinese market looking very strong. Hang Seng, the Sensex, the Indian market, still looking strong on all three fronts. And the Australian market is now bullish above the cloud, but very mixed picture for the last several weeks there. Brent crude is up again, so just continuing this short-term uptrend, and the medium-term picture looking better. We are hitting some long-term resistance here. Key thing is, can crude break that and go higher? And WTI, of course, much the same picture. US nat gas still hovering in the 280s, so just struggling to get anywhere there. And copper really still looking pretty strong, waiting for the break on this short-term chart. Going straight to gold, we see gold is just very flat at the moment, but we do still have this upside target of 2.3%, and silver also has an upside target of 2.1%. 2.2%. So we are just seeing an improvement there, but silver is bullish above the cloud, bearish medium and long term, whereas gold is actually bullish on all 3 time frames at the moment, so looking better. Take a look at treasury yields, sitting at 2.3%. And then we go to US tech. Apple just selling off at the moment, holding the cloud just, but not it looking a bit vulnerable. Google, the most worrying of the big tech stocks, below the cloud. Amazon also sinking lower, so that's also just a little bit of a worry short term. Facebook holding on, so this is one of the more bullish charts. And Microsoft just holding on, but also just starting to look a little bit worrying through the short term there. Medium and long term, of course, still looking very bullish for most tech stocks. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.